And we're back. We are the QB Lab podcast. I'm your host, Jake. This is my co-host, Zach. And as always, we are talking about the greatest position in all of sports, the QB position. It is crucial. However, as a lot of us know, the refs can get in the way sometimes too. So we are absolutely going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills and everything that went on in that game against the Broncos. And then, of course, we're going to be talking AFC Championship, NFC Championship. We're going to be covering all that fun stuff. Obviously, Zach and I, being Buffalo Bills fans, it's a challenging time for us. I just want to say before we get into all the thick of it, subscribe, smash that subscribe button, hit that like button. We really appreciate it because we are still gaining more subs. So we appreciate it. You can see I am in another place right now because I'm away, but that's okay. The show must go on. Zach, why don't we start with the Buffalo Bills stuff? Because I think it was devastating for anyone who's a Bills fan. It was truly devastating. I want to talk a little bit about Josh Allen too. Of course, we need to cover the fact that the most crucial play of that entire game, the non-catch call, the interception that was very clearly a catch. Zach, I know you want to cover this, so I'll give you the leeway here.
Yeah. It was a catch. Very clearly it was a catch. And here's the thing. Here's what I did after this all went down. I took my local ChatGPT model, not the one that's connected to the internet, not the one that can go on Reddit and see what everybody else is talking about. I went to my local ChatGPT model and I said, "You're a referee. Act like a referee. Here's the play. What's the ruling on the field supposed to be and why?" And what do you think ChatGPT said? ChatGPT said it's a catch. And it gave for all the reasons we expect. You got two hands, you've got down by contact, the knees on the ground. It's definitely not an interception. ChatGPT knows it's a catch. So why on earth does everybody see it's clearly a catch, but they rule it not a catch? It's because the call on the field was already calling it not a catch. And at that point, the refs can't go against what they said and make such a pivotal game call overturning the refs. At that point, it's not about what's right and what's wrong. It's a risk mitigation situation so that Gene Steratore doesn't look like an idiot while he's defending what's obviously a complete mess up by the referees. The bottom line here is refs need to be abolished from all sports. It should all be AI. It should all be objective. And this is just one instance in a series of multiple instances where the Bills have been absolutely killed by the refs. And I want to go there next. But Jake, I know you've got your thoughts on this too.
Yeah, I mean, the part that just I can't get over is that there was a game right after, and they gave a catch to Devontae Adams in almost the identical situation. And it needs to be noted here. Look, these situations don't happen that often in the NFL. I need to be clear. It's not like a super common play where the guy catches it, he's going down, it somehow ends up in the defender's hands. It happens, but it's not a super common play. And because of that, it needs to be really reviewed. And this play was barely reviewed. We know Sean McDermott is no longer the Buffalo Bills head coach. Part of that comes down to the fact that they lost this game. He's lost a lot of crucial games, 13 seconds a few years ago, 2020. Let's not go backwards here, or too far backwards. But just looking again at last weekend, if that play, regardless of what the call on the field is, it needs to be reviewed thoroughly. Even if it was during the season, I
Yes.
would say that. But you're talking about in the playoffs, in arguably probably the most important play of that entire game. And the refs barely, if even at all, reviewed it. I mean, Sean McDermott talked about that he had to call a timeout to just get them to even consider to review it. Why would he have to need them to consider to review a crucial play? Not to mention, it's a turnover play. Everyone knows that
Yeah.
turnovers are always
Oh yeah.
reviewed. So I'm just baffled by the fact that it was barely reviewed. And you and I know this because we watch a ton of football, that the refs and the NFL love spending time reviewing because they love to go to commercial. So, what better opportunity than to slap on some commercials and spend some time reviewing the damn play? It was,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it was a catch, was not catch. Now, there's no question it was a catch, but even in the slightest, alternate universe that is considered not a catch and it's an interception, you're reviewing that for at least 5 to 6 minutes. And they didn't do that at all.
Oh yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, I'm
Uh,
just sitting there going, I don't understand what's going on. Why is this play not being reviewed?
the craziest part for me is, as a fan, if I'm getting gaslit into believing that a catch is not a catch, now once a game, I'm going to see a moment like the Xavier Hutchinson moment in the Houston Texans Patriots game, like the Devontae Adams moment in the LA Rams game, where now every single time I watch football from here on out, I am going to think about this BS call and whether or not a catch is a catch. This is a sanity breaking play and terrible as a fan for every football game I watch from here on out.
It stings, and it's gonna sting for a long time for, honestly, all NFL fans. I think whether you're a Bills fan or not, if you care about the game, if you care about the integrity of the game, you have to be mad at this because the team that should have won that game didn't, and it was strictly because of a totally messed up call by the referees. And the referees should not have the ability to completely change the outcome of not only the game, but what's probably now going to be the Super Bowl. Because I think we both know that the New England Patriots are probably going to now walk into the Super Bowl instead of having to go up against the Bills, their arch rival, who was probably going to beat them and go to the Super Bowl. Regardless if you're a Bills fan or not, you have to care. You have to care that the play was not correct, that the call was
Yeah.
incorrect. You know,
Yeah. The season's under protest. The season's under
100%,
protest. It's that
100%.
simple. Um, And like, if you're a Bills fan, you're thinking back to all of the bad roughing. Like, you're thinking back to like the Miracle City Miracle, where it's clearly a forward pass. You're going back to the overtime against the Chiefs, where the Bills don't get the ball back and becomes a rule change. You're going back to last year's AFC Championship game, where 4th and 1 was clearly Josh Allen getting enough yardage, and not just that one play. There's obviously the viral minute by minute breakdown of all the times the refs missed how many yards a play got. This is just another moment in a series of moments that make the Bills the most tortured fan base in the NFL. And at this point, the NFL owes the Bills a Super Bowl appearance just to get things back to even.
Look, I hope you're right. And watching Josh Allen weep, it hurts. The guy gave it his all. He is by far the best player in the NFL. There is no doubt. I know he's not winning MVP this year. Doesn't mean a damn thing. He is the best player. He gave it his all. And seeing him cry at the end of that, it's something that any true football fan could feel how hard that is, how much he deserves to be in the playoffs still, to have a shot at the Super Bowl, and he's now being stripped of it on a one of the worst calls I think we've seen. I've seen some bad calls in the NFL, and this has got to be up there. Now, it stings me to say I got to move on to the AFC Championship. Obviously, you and I are huge football fans. We're not missing a beat here. I hate to say this. I really hate to say it, but Drake May is going to show the world that he is for real. I've been hoping as a Bills fan that Drake May wouldn't become what he has become. But this guy is winning in big moments. He's showing it over and over again, and I think we're going to see it against the Broncos. I think Drake May is going to have a really good game against the Denver Broncos. I think he's going to be the main reason why the New England Patriots are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this won't be close. In year 2 of playing in the NFL, Drake Maye will have more Super Bowl appearances than Josh Allen. This one, I think, is pretty cut and dry. I don't hate it. Like, I think you might be a bit more pissed about than I am. I think Drake Maye's put up a hell of a season, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be unbelievably good here. And Drake Maye happens to be both lucky and unbelievably good. It's good for him.
And I guess the one positive silver lining, again, as a diehard Bills fan, I'm obviously not being totally objective right now, but at least I can say this. We did beat him this season, so it'll make me feel a bit better that we beat a guy that's in the Super Bowl, so I could live with myself and I can
No,
fall
that makes you
asleep at
feel
night.
worse. No. That gives you even more credence of the you think Josh Allen would have gotten to the Super Bowl.
Well, talking about now, AFC Championship, continuing on about that. I don't think there's a whole lot to discuss with Bo Nix. I mean, I
No,
think
I
we
think they just go
saw
to the NFC,
we
dude.
saw enough from him to know that that guy's not for
Yeah,
real. He's not legit. NFC Championship,
yeah.
this to me is the more interesting one, to be honest. The NFC Championship is interesting. I think we got two really good teams. I think we got two teams that are more than deserving to make it. Although the Rams have had both close games in the playoffs, that to me shows me that they're facing adversity really well. They're finding ways to win, and I love that. I think Matt Stafford's still that MVP guy. Now, if I got to go with it, I do think overall Stafford's going to struggle against the Seahawks defense. I don't think he's going to look quite good enough. I don't think he's going to do quite enough this time to pull out the win. I see the Seahawks winning this game. And arguably as important, and it really ties that, the Seahawks are winning this game because of their defense. They're not winning it because of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is still not the guy. I've been saying it, and I'm going to keep harping on it. He will make the Super Bowl, but he ain't going to the Super Bowl because of him. Sam Darnold is going to the Super Bowl because he's got a phenomenal, I mean, phenomenal team around him, and he didn't have the hardest road to get there.
Yeah, here's what makes this game interesting. In what was one of the games of the season this year when the Seahawks played the Rams were one really strange 2-point conversion call away from taking that game. But that was when the Rams really looked like they were at peak form, and they have slid significantly since. And over that same period of time, I think we've seen the Seahawks really grow as a team. The coaching from Mike McDonald's always been phenomenal. The defense is something else. I do think the Seahawks take this game, but I think what makes this interesting is if the Rams happen to perform like they did closer to the beginning of the season, this could really go any which way because there were clear points in this season where the Rams would have absolutely stomped all over this Seahawks team. So what I would love as a football fan is for Stafford to be in peak form, to watch Devontae Adams be in peak form, to watch Puka do what he does against the Seattle Seahawks. But overall, the Seahawks team just performed too consistently to believe at this stage that the Seahawks, like, they're too consistent. And I think the Seahawks end up taking that game. But I'm excited to see if we get the early season Rams here. And that to me makes it worth watching. The AFC game is tough to watch just because that Broncos team is going to be one of the teams I hate the most going forward for a phony interception. And then watching Drake Maye, it's fun football, but seeing the easiest walker, I can't watch the AFC right now. I'm going to go ahead and say whoever wins the NFC has my take. And one thing I also want to point out, I was starting to root for Caleb Williams. Like during that Rams Bears game, it felt like it was becoming a statement of whether or not the new guard was going to be able to teach some new tricks to
This
the old
close.
guard. And I was not a Caleb fan this season. I thought he was inconsistent. I didn't like how he would go to the sidelines and throw the ball away at the highest clip in the NFL. But these two plays in these
He
playoffs
can
where
make
he from the
magic.
back foot gets that fourth down, and then this one where seemingly it looks like a throwaway ball and it magically finds its way into Cole Kmet's arms, I now think this is a legit team. I want to watch them play football every week. It is a shame to me that they're out, and I'm excited to see the future state of the NFL. And like having the Bears in would have been way more entertaining to me than having the Rams in. But I think that given this is a quarterback show, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Caleb also is coming off of a great weekend, where for me, his stock soars greatly. And I'm a big believer in him and what Ben Johnson is making him do in this sophomore leap forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Look, as both of us obviously running this show, we love the quarterback position. We focus on it so heavily. And it's amazing to see a guy like Caleb Williams take that leap forward that I think a lot of people hoped he would take. And to your point, he's actually fun to watch. I want to watch quarterbacks that are exciting and fun to watch. Bo Nix is not that, but Caleb Williams is that. Matt Stafford is that. Uh, you know, Drake May is that. I like guys that are electric. And it is cool to have some really, really great players now in the NFC that are exciting to watch. And it's going to be wild to see what happens next season. The Bears showed a lot of promise, and I think a lot of people have been waiting for that, historic team, for that historic franchise to get back to that top, and they were so close. So, to all those Bears fans out there, to all those Bills fans out there, we will be back. Those teams will be back. It's just probably going to look a little different, and hopefully some other calls are going to go your way. But if you've been listening this long, as we wrap this up, smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, check our channels out. We're putting shorts out all the time because we love to talk football. And we will see you all very soon for our special Super Bowl episode.